Traditional coaches press conference the day before a big game today from Atlanta this morning with Ryan Day, Marcus Freeman. Over 300 media in attendance, so you know it's a big game. Yeah, it's a big game. Not only is it a big game, I've been covering Notre Dame football for 28 years. It's the biggest game I've ever covered, and no doubt the biggest game for both of these coaches. Ryan Day's been in national title games before, but he's never been in one like this, the culmination of the 12-team college football playoff. For Fighting Irish Preview, fightingirishpreview.com, I'm Phil Houck, and this is a special report from Atlanta from the national championship game brought to you by Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. The coaches addressed various issues this morning. I think the goal is to not make any news during these press conferences. It's more a photo op than anything. But there was some transfer portal philosophy talk. They talked about pregame speeches and what it's like to prepare for an unprecedented 16th game in the season. That's unusual. That's never happened in a college football season. On the transfer portal, Marcus Freeman, I thought, had a succinct quote. We are going to major in high school recruiting and minor in transfer portal. So the idea is we want to develop our players, of course, but we're going to plug holes through the transfer portal when needed, and it's worked very well for Notre Dame. On the 16-game season that these coaches are now faced with, playing their 16th game, and how have they kept their teams relatively fresh for that 16-game season? Both coaches admitted that they have been very deliberate in this process ever since the start of the season, particularly Ohio State. Ryan Day said that they've been limiting snaps in games, not running tempo, just trying to keep their players fresher throughout the whole process. And similarly, Marcus Freeman said about the same thing, and they both have relied heavily on their strength and conditioning staffs to make sure their players were at their optimum point and keep them fresh going into a 16th game of the season. Regarding pregame speeches, both coaches kind of smiled at that question, like there's nothing we're going to say at this point that's really going to make these guys suddenly light bulb go on and win the game. They both talk about it as about being a culmination of a process that they started a week ago to build up to this game and to bring it all together in those final moments. They said there will be no lack of emotion no matter what they say. So not a lot of stock in those pregame speeches, but as we've seen, Marcus Freeman's been pretty good at them nonetheless. Marcus Freeman also commented on the importance of faith at Notre Dame. Faith is something we address openly at Notre Dame, he stated, and we want our players growing in their faith. That's a pretty cool statement from him, I thought. Looking for an edge in this game? Well, Ryan Day really was strongly complimented the special teams for Notre Dame. He spoke really extensively. He talked about all three areas, and then he focused on how good the Notre Dame special teams have been. I agree with him, and I think that's an area where Notre Dame may have an edge, something to think about going into tomorrow. For Fighting Irish Preview and fightingirishpreview.com, please go to our website, fightingirishpreview.com. And if you like what we've been doing all season long, all across all media, consider buying us a cup of coffee. You'll see a button there. That would show great support for us, and we do appreciate that support. For Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, I'm Phil Houck, and we will talk to you game day tomorrow.